A deafening roar. The Iron Wolf fell. The legitimate realized what exactly he did. Hey, what was it? The audience chanted the winner. The Iron Wolf was overwhelmed. The entertainer said that the Iron Wolf had lost consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, let's warmly welcome the applause of today's winner. We thank the fighters to be a legislative wolf for this magnificent duel. The fan waved their hands and shouted, "Super! Only Chen won it. Chen, cool!" The applause did not subside, and the legislative went a little rest. Meanwhile, the entertainer announced, behind a fight between... in the recreation area. Only moans were heard. It suffered from pain. Puff! Wow. Is it legislative? What's wrong with you? Skip the doctor's time now. A familiar figure appeared on the threshold. She began to get something similar to the needles. Dr. Shen, what are you... He is greatly beaten. Egallowing and cauterization. I create a channel for the influx of AI and blood. How painful it was, leg. He only moaned, wow. Chen, how do you feel? Already noticeably better. Do not worry, the study answered. Well done. In such a short time, he managed to properly master everything that I showed you. Did not expect. Haha, I have the ability to grab well on the fly. Only everything. There are no other abilities. What a modest one are you, said Dr. Shen. Ayu, crowned in pain, Chen. Release in the ring 20,000, percentage of input tickets 14,000. Chernish, what do you think there? Shadow, I think how much you should pay. Even counting at a minimum, it turns out more than 30,000. Is it true? Super. This was very delighted, despite fatigue. Him Kim, torn muscles, help, live-in injuries, Dr. Shen reasoned. Indeed, first heal, for money later, his friend said. Fans not even diverged. We leave, the next fight is not interesting. Went. This Iron Wolf is worthless. They say a native of some educational camp of death, you see. That's all that he can. They knew before, put on a beginner. Mr. Hay, I warned you that you should not look at the appearance, now lost. The physique is legitimate, although fragile. At first glance, it is clear that he is engaged in Eastern martial arts, and is quite comparable to this straightforward tall lone. Do you know what kind of style is he? Wine Chun. The Iron Wolf lost from the moment he approached him closely. The loser pays. Only now I didn't grab cash, I'll write out the check. Mr. Gan, today we spent the evening very well with you. I need to go, we will meet next time. This fucking northerner still dares to mock me. I'll show him yet. Cutting did not disappoint me. There was a check in his hands. Reward him with this check. Yes, boss. Office of the Director of the Martial Arts Palace Heavenly Warriors. I didn't think that the Iron Wolf could lose. In the office, there was an active discussion apparently talking about the battle. So, the chef gave him a chance for revenge, and as a result, he soaked the reputation of death to our school camp. This time, the position of the school camp in Hinnan was very shaken. The boss was indignant and shouted to everyone to shut up and beat the furniture. Only Bok Bok was flying, everything was flying. This was the release of rage. Good to scratch your tongues. No, with brains to scatter how to solve problems. A series of failures. Finally, the eldest calmed down a little and began to think. This time to lose the associations of Southern Fist martial arts schools. This is the loss of part of the chances of winning a place in the Polar Star this year. The old man in Minhee probably looks after the bitch, secretly fucking you beat this dairy. And they cannot be reduced to the qualifications of the participant in the competition, otherwise all the efforts spent are in vain. Meanwhile, there was a knock on the door of the Took. Carl is the secretary of the floor. Paul. Carl called him. Paul sat in the middle of the room and thought. There were many thoughts. Do not worry. The head of the department is calling you right now. It seems that in the case of a place in the Polar Star, I thought, Paul, does the teacher still give me a chance? Inside the half rejoiced. It seems like people from the Eden community make a deal. You just need to conclude it, and you will have a chance to get a place. Carl said. As for this, partners Reminiang, we will provide this to people of Black Killers. One of them is just relatively close from here, and in a month, he will be able to catch the second round of the competition. Carl spoke. Yeah, I get it to do it. Bah! There was an explosion and a lot of smoke appeared. Here is 80,000. Indeed, in the hands there was a fee for participating in competitions for 80,000. Chernish in here even more than you pretended. To this, for sure there, the seizure of his hands did not regret the money. With this, Snowball now has a hope for recovery. Super, and they hugged happily. But Dr. Shen did not share their joy. Stop the gallow in the medical cabinet! And they both froze, obeying Dr. Shen's formidable gaze. The doctor brought a new package with treatment and said, drink this tablet. When Shen puts on glasses, she becomes very strict. I like her character more when she was without glasses. I thought as legitimate. She did not look so menacing and said so legally, let's go. He apparently did not expect that it would be so quickly asked. And right now? Chen, brother, when did you manage to get closer like that? I also squeezed behind me. No shame, no conscience. Do not say nonsense. We have Shen Yue. Everything is not the way you think. Badachin began to make excuses. Okay, I went. Yes, do not forget to teach me the technique that you used today. Then somehow, The timidly said is legally. Sign gallery Bright Moon. Dr. Shane took off her glasses and thought, now you will be a reward for winning the competition. Reward? He thought, surprised. This is the only way you have power in your competitions. The brain literally exploded from thoughts. I hope this, not that. But she only said you quit these left thoughts. Show the technique of Zhuanggun, and that's it. Zhuanggun? He clearly thought about that. Yes. Basic exercises for mastering the Zhuanggun in Wing Chun. Last time you spied and remembered the work with a wooden mannequin? She asked. This? He was a little embarrassed. Our Wing Chun, in principle, is quite common. Therefore, if you want, you can then teach from your friend, she said. Chedic to understand everything. Still, you heard he said. However, how about the rack of the horseman with the respiratory technique of the tuna and the AI cycle with blood? Have you studied these basic things yet? The legated clarified. Are they so important? If you mastered Zhuanggun before the fight with an Iron Wolf, you could win without leaving his place at all. Wow, I was sincerely surprised. Cole understood, then looked carefully. If you weren't so beaten, would have been prepping now. Thanks for the help. He was very grateful. It remained only to look at the stars and put thoughts in order. Not easy. This Zhuanggun, thinking is a legislative. As soon as I get better, I will start reinforced training. Pei. Suddenly there was a sound from silence. Huanon. All in his thoughts was legally. Pai. The sound repeated. So you are here. Surprised is a legitimate. Cutting was immersed in his thoughts, but something surprised him. Two, hi. He took a closer look and really had two tails. Meow, the cat repeated. Ah, he screamed emotionally legally. He did not know what to expect from her. She completely showed her paws and he froze. The cat began to climb and purr. Settlement asked her, do you want to come with me? As if he understands human speech. Really, this cat has a connection with spirits? Thought is legitimate. Okay, at least she will be able to play sisters. And they went along the dark street towards the house. Linka. Snowball. Rather see who I brought you. The cat greeted everyone and said meow. The girls began to admire her. Oh, how sweet she is. Such a paw, just like a native. And she has two tails. And you liked it. That's good. He said is legitimate. You are probably hungry. Wait here. I'll bring you milk, she said one of the girls. The girl is frozen. Sister, what happened? But she did not answer. Link, shouted is legitimate. He was very concerned. What happened to you? Rather sit down on the sofa. But the girl only coughed, Kike. Linka, where does it hurt? Sister, you are so pale, but she only answered, nothing, brother. Everything is fine. Killed a little. That's all. The usual thing. Nothing serious. She took the medicine that you brought. Became much better, really. Snezhka, I'm sorry to scare you. Calm down. Everything is in order with me. I will bring you a glass of water. It is more likely to do something with Linka sores. Mom is no longer there, so I will never allow her to happen to her. This building was very beautiful. They called me Mr. Ha. What's the matter? You quickly got here. Tansong. Silk. He ordered a man who stood behind him. It was a whole case completely filled with money. Taisun's eyes flashed. Mister, what is it? Here is 200,000. I need to teach one person. This boy. Here is his photo. He sat and studied many books on ancient Chinese medicine. 2 weeks have passed, and absolutely no progress. He was surprised. How many diseases exists, which cannot be cured either by Chinese or European medicine? Profanes are at all without any reason to try to read medical books. Link can hurt because of the snowballs, no matter how all this otherworldly made me look for the Holy Dawn monk. He fell on the bed, tortured reading of the ancient scriptures. What to do? Exactly. He came a brilliant idea. He remembered something. Shen Yu said she would help to find a doctor of Chinese medicine that can help her. Rather, in the Palace of Martial Arts. The door creaked a little and he went to the meeting. His path ran through the park, in which he often walked. This time he passed as usual, and did not notice anything unusual. The guy in the yellow cap paid attention to him. Does he follow him? He took out the phone and began to dial someone or call. Hello, mister. Su Chen heads to the Palace of Martial Arts. He goes along the same road through the park. The grandfather will certainly pass through the Balazan lane, said the guy in the yellow cap. I realized now the connection with the Tian Sun. I will be later, the Lord answered. I think you remember this bastard. The spy in the yellow cap continued to poke his crooked fingers on the phone screen. Tian Song, you have to go to work. The object is getting in your direction. It was only worth brewing fragrant tea with petals and meadow flowers as a door knocked. Come in, Shen Yu answered calmly. Shen Yu. Su Chen was very alarmed. They exchanged their greetings and views. As I understand it, you came to ask about your sister? She said. How did you guess? Su-hen was surprised. What else can you think about with such a preoccupied look? She asked. Didn't you find a suitable doctor? Asked Su Zhang. I looked at the history of your sister's disease. No one knows how to help her, including even famous healers. I think it remains only to turn to the magical game in the damn hand, she said mysteriously. But who is this? One old doctor from the Society of Doctors, nicknamed the Needle of the Moscow region. But he is now abroad. He will not be able to come quickly. He will definitely be able to cure Linka. All the doctors who have been addressed before say that Linka has the highest degree of Jiao, is not treated. The skillful doctor of Mo-Ra used to treat a similar disease. His patient responded that unclean power entered the body and unbalanced yin and yang. The usual replenishing methods were even more unsuitable for treatment. Does it really exist? And what's the results? Asked Su Chen. The healer and several doctors from Wúshuāng jointly cured that patient. Do you not deceive me? Do you need Taotian monks to treat diseases? So far, I can't tell you some details yet. The main thing is that there is still something to treat your sister. Here, how everything turns out to be very confused. Su Chen got up to walk around the office and remove the tension a little. Dr. Shen, I went then. Do not worry, I will properly prepare for the competition, which will be in 2 weeks. Wait, she said, and with a deft movement of her finger threw him some little thing. With a deft movement of his hand, Susan immediately caught her and clamped her in his fist. What, he asked, considering a small gadget. This is called an all-seeing eye. A small device is a little larger than the size of the nail on the thumb. On the chain on himself. If suddenly something strange happens, click the button on it. I have special equipment, video and sound within 300 m around it, she said. Why do I need such a thing? Are you going to fix how I go to the toilet? No. An idiot. The limits of the Fight Club of Heavenly Warriors. Far and much deeper than you imagine. You, like the official boxer of our club, in addition to competitions and training, will have special tasks. In addition, once every 6 months, it will be necessary to contribute, where a large risk is most likely. Yes, I remember that the official boxers of the club is really every 6 months. There is a kind of bodyguard. Su Chen, I picked up this thing on a t-shirt. Let it be. Forewarned is forearmed. All of them. Why do you have such thing? Is this an interference in private life? He was surprised. She immediately took out a certificate from her pocket. Shen Yu, the second inspection link. Department for Especially Important Matters. I am an employee of the Department for Particularly Important Matters, Specially Masters of Wúshu. She began to wave her certificate in front of her nose. I got it, thought he. Write down my phone for communication at the same time. Wow, is it really a beauty gives me a phone number? Most of the buildings outside the beautiful shiny skyscrapers look just like that. Smashed small huts, where someone's underpants and t-shirts are necessarily dried. I am glad that now there is hope for the recovery of Linka. But if you invite the monks, I think snowballs will be tight, he thought. At that moment, something cracked behind him. Or someone was heard. An instantly thought flew in his head, carefully, danger. An incomprehensible person, in striped pants, and a strange muzzle jumped on him right from above. Damn it, who is it? Susan was very surprised, and realized that he should act at high speed. With a deft movement, he jumped to the side of the comma to avoid hitting his foot. The guy in striped pants and an incomprehensible muzzle landed on the ground, the roar of his fall. From his blow, the earth cracked under his hard boots. This suggests that they should be afraid. In order not to strain Susan with an incomprehensible guy, it is better to look here. This species soothes and a little hypnotizes. As you understood, this is Dr. Shen. I decided to change clothes after I sent the guy to her home. Oh, someone is spying on her. Who is this? Sister, and let's help you undress. Out another nurse jumped out of the screen. Aye. She did not examine her robes into her to cover her face. Oh, this is so fun. Apple, go out, she said without even turning in her direction. What an interesting name. I have already seen him somewhere. What do you think? Write about this in the comments. Oh, what a pleasant aroma. The nurse began to inhale her robe. At that moment, signals were heard from the laptop. The inspector, the alarm from our gadget, the all-seeing eye number 3. They opened the computer and began to consider action. He stumbled upon the enemy. Look at how this thin genole jumps high. 12. The path of the Tantui Severnaya complex. She clearly recognized this place, only a few frames. The technique of this thin worm is so honed that it cuts off with legs like air tiles. For power is definitely maximum. Where did this guy just come from? Why are it so many enemies? Give me its exact location. Still, he is a very important figure for me. Inspector, do you want to go there? The nurse asked in fright. If suddenly they kill him now, then certainly my suffering will be in vain. Su Chen is now in the park, where the lane begins, in a straight line from the martial arts palace for about 13 kilometers by car and 10 minutes drive. Placing her fingers on the keyboard, quickly recognized his exact location. Lane. Where is this small one in a hurry? Inspector, call you a taxi? The nurse asked. No, I'll get a run faster. I love such girls, who are ready to get without a taxi. Running. I was surprised by the nurse. Shen stomped with her foot through the windowsill and took a decisive step. Inspector, we are on the 6th floor. The main thing is to remind about it in time. The nurse screamed, but the width of the woman was already flying down with a serious expression on her face. It is interesting, and with what facial expression you jump from the 6th floor, write in the comments. Her leather boots slapped at the paving slabs. After a second, she was below. Indeed, why they came up with a staircase. Judging by the just scene, this is probably Tansong, a student who received the regalia of the master of the northern school. Understanding this, she began to run even faster. This guy studied Kung Fu Old Sanhui for more than 10 years, so his strength is definitely not at a simple level of C. Su Chen, who studied only a couple of weeks, he certainly was not an opponent, she thought, dissecting the air. With dexterous movements, she jumped from the balcony to the balcony, overcoming obstacles. This is called parkour. And what? There is a man upstairs? The guy was surprised. There? There is no one there. Shen seemed to evaporate. The quiet rustle of leaves broke the huge blows of heavy heels. Ian's song. Each time I tried to hit him with his feet. Su Chen beat off his blows with his own hands, blocking his movements. Baba echoed in a quiet lane. The thin guy in incomprehensible pants was clearly aggressive. Su Chen moved very quickly, as he was afraid for his life. Clap thundered in a quiet alley. The thin Gino moved very quickly around our hero. Think about it, nothing special, just some kind of little one. He clicked his boot and was about to strike. Next is an indescribable picture. Quick, incomprehensible movements, who, where, and why. Barely dodged. Su Chen thought, it's amazing that he still had time to think. Well, this type of vague legs, he thought once again. He can be even faster than an iron wolf. I definitely stuck into something very strange. Shen Yu obviously rumbled. At that moment she sneezed. And what is it? Well, you know, when someone remembers someone, he sneezes. Or in any case, thinks so. Boom. Su Chen just blocked a very strong blow with his foot. I'll try to me against him a methodology for working with a wooden mannequin. No wonder he takes a place in every simulator hall. He relaxed, concentrated, and began to focus to beat off his blows. Sounds rustled the rustling of dissecting air. As soon as Su Chen began to work on him, there were deaf sounds and the thin guy decided to do something incomprehensible. Most likely this is a blow of a crazy heel. Indeed, it happened. The leg with a whistle flew right in the face, and he missed the blow. Aye, he cried out, after the hard boot touched his forehead and cut him off. You, a newcomer, cannot get me, the thin slob said mysteriously. He suggested that they strike one by one. Suns hardly dodged from them, periodically spitting blood, which prevented him from breathing. Su Chen, from such blows, in the chest was not enough air since all the muscles were compressed. Would get into his throat, the villain thought. Bach. Bach. There was a series of blows with powerful legs. Susan tried to block these quick blows because of all his might. Clap, clap. The guys continued their battle. The blows poured one after another. At that moment, Su Chen attacked. He inflicted his own a series of quick and accurate blows. The thin guy in yellow pants was very surprised. After a moment, Su Chen hit him with his shoulder right into the chest cage, the most unprotected place. Damn, even in such bad conditions, this puppy is also able to hold a rack. A thin slob was surprised. Here are the scum. They gave me false information about this guy. Quickly you react to prey, he said through your mask. If I do not lay on the floor, then I can't cope with it. Initially, I wanted you to die more beautifully, having done it more carefully and quietly. Conscientiously, Tan Sun is his mutuisit. This Su Chen is not an opponent at all. He examined him in binoculars, being on the top floor of some kind of parking. Well, now we will fulfill the request of a big brother, he said calmly. Shook. Came the blows, to the upper floors. On top the picture opened like in the palm of his hand. Close. Small pebbles scattered to the sides. From a sharp blow with a foot. What happens? Like a locust, he pushed off the wall, and after a moment the air took off. Su Chen was very surprised when he saw such an interesting maneuver. He also knows how to spin in the air. He was surprised. The hole in the zone of his attack. It would have to dodge, but nowhere to disperse the power of the blow of his legs. Smart thoughts visited his head. Bam! Bam! The thin goalist continued to attack by making the most unimaginable movements. If anything, this is not an upturned picture. He was really on top. Bam! Bam! Susan blocked his strong blows with sharp movements. Each blow with a whistle cut air. It hurts. Very painful. I did not expect that after dispersing the blow there would be such power. Shuk, a thin guy, landed on the ground, like a predator considering his victim. Up. How he was able to withstand my crown blow. Thought a thin guy in yellow pants. More recently, these events occurred. The young gentleman sat with a young girl and drank his alcoholic drink. Young master. Big brother came. He informed him of the boy in a yellow cap. Big brother. How long have we not seen each other? He said, continuing to rub off his ice cubes. Come on quickly, without a ceremony, or my long absence can be seen. I understood. I understand. Without unnecessary questions. With Tanzian, I will figure it out a little later. He said, there are enough money about our grouping. We will pay how much we need. I need to remove this person. Strange. I have already seen this photo somewhere. With such an authority as you will do it very simple. Big brother knows Su Chen? He was surprised. Do not ask unnecessary questions. In our group, it will not be difficult to find someone else. If you do not agree. After a moment, he turned and headed for the exit, and only the points in his head moved along with his brains. Chenmin, call Tansuna here. Yes, my lord, he immediately answered. Young gentleman, you called me? Yes, it is, nothing special. I need to teach one person. This is the same debuting student of the Wing Chun school. It is impossible. My father is a good relationship mentor with the master of Wing Chun. If I take this business, then I will not grow up. Do not forget that if my father had not noticed your skill, then you would still continue to poke around in the beds in your mountains. Your father-mentor must be already at a very advanced age. Don't you think to keep it in old age? Here is a cash deposit, how you will do the case even more. Although this tycoon is very kind to me, but the master is like my own father for me. He thought when he went outside, carrying a suitcase with money. If there weren't a mentor's father, then if I met a tycoon, he would hardly have taken me from a mountain village. In the city, I can stand everything. And the fact that many are chuckling at how ugly I am, and the fact that you have to fulfill dangerous assignments, because I have to thank the master for the transferred art. Exactly. Magnot himself. Nothing of itself is. The main thing is the money, that I can respectfully present my father to the mentor. I have long wanted to earn such an amount of money, and you can return back to the mountains to a happy life with a mentor's father so that he calmly lives until the end of his days. Su Chen will die. He returned to his thoughts. His eyes were filled with anger. Rask! He jumped again, to deliver his stunning blow with an elbow. Master, wait for me. Your student will finish this business and return to stay with you forever. Ha! He shouted. He made another blow. He, like a locust, continued to jump high and strike on top. Su Chen managed to block his destructive blow. No, I can't lose, he thought instantly. Inspector, you have not yet reached the lane, asked the nurse, looking at the fight on her laptop screen. You're faster, please. Well, something unimaginable is happening there, she said. Su Chen is crushed. He can only defend himself. Defend himself? A little more and we'll be completely over for him, she said. Great, so Su Chen can win, eh? What? A comma, Inspector, do you say this seriously? She was surprised. Of course, I know that he has huge potential. Shen stood at the top of the building and looked down. Su Chen just began to study Wing Chun. But on the other hand, the future sparring partner, he studied the protection best of all. Standing to the holder only such a scattering defense, so I thought to death simple to death. Come on, Inspector. We act. Stop watching the guys wave their arms and legs. Bam bum. Again sounded blank blows which echoed along the quiet lane. After such a fight, most likely you will have to make cosmetic repairs in this alley. Damn, I can't attack in this way for a long time. The guy in the mask noticed that his hands were already bruised and beaten. With this technique, it is certainly necessary to finish him off. I thought a thin guy in yellow pants and abruptly jumped into the air. Is he really preparing a jumping cast again? Exactly, this is my chance, he thought. He is tired. You want to win the moment right now. Again, this voice in my head. Where did he come from? But my hands are already very beaten. Well then so. While this grasshopper in the yellow pants was in the air, Suns instantly reacted and struck his foot directly into the chest. With such a blow, you can break through the walls, and now it has struck its chest. How else can you explain the fact that they went so quickly on their own on such a blow? The thin slob fell to the ground by raising a cloud of dust. Wow, the receiver, as it turned out, Su Chen thought unexpectedly. Do you know 12 more expensive Tantui complex? The guy of the yellow pants was surprised. Oh, you bastard. Secretly teach martial arts, he said insidiously. With anger, I lost control of my movements. A voice sounded in my head. Why can I beat Tantui in the style? He asked himself. Because I'm here. You? I'll tell you in more detail when you get out alive. What are you standing? Hit, I offered a voice to sound his head. From such a look, and even in a quiet alley, you can put bricks in his pants. Their duel continued with renewed vigor. Now their blows were on equal terms. Su Chen began to use his legs in the same combat style. After a moment, their boots connected in a loud blow. The cotton rang out throughout the alley. Using not only his legs, but also Su Jin's hands began to attack him, stringing strong and heavy blows. Su Chen conducted a combination of strikes, and threw off the thin worm and to the other end of the lane. Oh, escaped from his mouth. How did this happen? He no longer had the strength to continue the battle. Dangerous. Damn it, a little more and corpse, he thought. His pupils mysteriously sparkled with a bright yellow light. It seems that he returned, and before us the usual Su Chen. Do you hear, with an incomprehensible respirator? Who sent you? Su Chen came closer and asked him. I am a fighter. I don't give out for my customers. The thin Genal said quietly. It's good then to exchange courtesies with him. A voice sounded in my head. Hey, rather kill him. An idiot. If I kill him, then serious problems will appear. For yourself, legitimate self. Defense. Yes, but the excess of self. Defense will not pass. Suvin mentally spoke to himself. You hear a miracle in the respirator. Do not bother strangers anymore. You are our merciful. What will you do if this hell and then appear again? The voice continued to sound in his head. I have already turned on the all, seeing eye, so the Shen Yu is already in the know, and everything will make everything. After some time, he calmly went further along the lane, as if nothing had happened. Tansong, the young gentleman said angrily. You were so worthless you couldn't even lay a boxer's newcomer. What are you understanding, the profane? This small debut with the power of less than the level D, and in just 2 weeks it has already risen to the level of C. It's good that I was alive at all, he said in a plaintive voice. Such abilities for training. This is not the genius of the world of martial arts, but a curse of the world of martial arts. He added, I can't even believe our beauty has long reached the place and watched from above. Su Chen really won this duel. She seemed to eat him with his gaze. Who is this baby really? And what will we do? And... Now we will have to clean the tails behind you, the young gentleman said. Interesting. This is still whose people. We should follow them. At that moment, some waiter in a mask appeared behind her, but he clearly did not bring any dessert. Hand-to-hand combat began again. This waiter in a mask clearly reviewed the films about Zorro. In addition to the mask, he also grew Onyx. He continued to attack our beauty. But she, too, was not made with her finger. With dexterous movements, she beat off his attacks and struck. The hand-to-hand combat continued. An incomprehensible type in the mask, Zorro continued to wave with his own hands. Shen Yu, we perfectly remembered all the techniques that she studied. Now she has put them in practice for defending oneself. Who are you? She asked this stranger. But you will be very surprised to learn that she received the answer. Voila, in response, she received a smoke grenade. Now you understand how to answer the girl when she asks you? Just throw a grenade at her. A fraction of a second. And the grenade exploded. Clubs of thick smoke were covered with everything around. Thus, the bastard decided to escape so that no one began to catch up with it. The guys realized that they screwed up. Well, how else can they explain that they were leaving in their car so quickly, it seems to me? Or is it really some kind of Citroen model? Write in the comments if you recognize this car. Wow, thank you. Big brother, helped. Otherwise we would have crafts today. I didn't think that you were so mediocre, Big brother answered strictly. He rode in the car, and he was offended to hear such words. Maybe he was mediocre. But he has a teacher. This is Tan Sanhui. The young gentleman proudly said. Is it really his teacher, Tan Sanhui? Asked Big brother. Where do you think they went? Of course they went to a deserted place. Guess why? Have you already announced? Of course. Be calm. The young master has already told everything on the phone. Now the old man Tan Sanhui will definitely jump when he finds out about it, a big brother said. Damn, was he really fucked up? He certainly banged him, asked the interlocutor on the phone. The bright moon illuminated the yard with a dark night. Su Chen continued to train his skill on a wooden mannequin. He inflicted a series of strong blows to his wooden opponent. It hurts so. We should have a little rest. I think there's enough for a couple of days. His hands were stuffed and covered with bruises. He crouched and took a sip of his drink to quench a little thirst. I hope you don't have to miss the next competition. Meow. There was a sound from above, and there was a rattle of claws on a metal roof. The white cat walked along the roof and slipped, and at that moment fell right on the face of our hero. What are you doing? In surprise, Su Chen thought. Pie. A cat gave out incomprehensible sounds. What is on her head? Su Chen was surprised when he examined her closer. A yellow fulu appeared on this cat's head. Ancient spell. Did he think this spell? What? Again this voice. Up, here as agreed. Not only are the cats falling on my head, but also these hallucinations. Do you still remember? What did you and I agreed about? A voice in his head continued to sound. Who are you, after all? Why don't you appear to talk to me? And why do you influence me? This is too straightforward. You can call me a shadow. A light shining image of a boy appeared in front of him. This is your second He said wait, or just thought it is not clear how they communicate with each other with words or thoughts. The second I am. Are you kidding me? I said something wrong, but in fact, I have a separate person who has been your body. A shadow answered. Enjoyed personalities? Thought Su Chen, and plunged into his memories when a cold winter was found in a cardboard box. At that moment, he saw a blue glow that was spinning over his head. After a moment, this blue light penetrated right inside the baby. Is it really true? Cried Su Chen. And finally, he threw the cat to the ground. Stop holding her on your head. Still, what are you? He asked. It's hard to say that I remember after I got into your body is that I am from another world. And from another world, and what does it mean? Are you playing me? What is the point of fooling you? After all, if something happens to you, then I will end at the same time. The task now is your defense. You don't have the body. How are you going to protect me? They continued to communicate. They think that you have already noticed my excellent learning abilities. In addition, you ate a red fiery berry, and why are these abilities only intensified? If you enlist his help, then please, I really can get out of any ambush. But if you manage to leave my body, you won't protect me anymore, right? It won't work out. You and I are not divided. Explained to him a shadow. Although you speak smoothly, but somehow I don't really believe in all this. However, except to believe me, you no longer have another way out. At that moment, Cute Pussy revealed her sharp fangs and dug into Su Chen's sore hand. Why are you biting? Let go! Susan cried out of surprise. Brother, what happened? Su Chen made a lot of noise late at night. Nothing happened, Linka. Go to sleep. At that moment, the pussy continued to squeeze her fangs on his hand. I know. You also go to bed early. She reached out and slowly yawned, and went to my room. And what should I do with this pussy on my hand? Not only is she falling on my head in the middle of the night and also bites her teeth. The cat continued to hold it with her teeth. She clearly wanted to say something. How difficult it is when these stupid people do not understand the language of animals. And you talk to their pets? To you. It let go. A scoundrel. Get out of me. As if a white monster attacked a little man. In such a dance, they circled for about 40 minutes or more, until the tired cat finally let him go. Enough for today. A voice in my head sounded again. It would be necessary to give you time to get used to it, added a voice. However, I'll say one thing to you now. The thing in this cat is the key to the healing of your sister, my shadow said mysteriously. Sunny rays began to break into the room, recalling that the night was already over. I was very tired. Shen Yu spent all night at the computer in search of the necessary information. I checked all the archives, and not a single clue for a man in a mask prepared everything in advance, goats, she thought. And to whom did this be aiming to follow Su Chen, this poor guy, she thought. Judging by the combat equipment, this waiter in the mask is not similar to the academic camp. There was a sound of notification on the phone. A notification from the Apple came. Oh, this girl, all sorts of incomprehensible photos in such an early time are walking. In surprise, she spat out all the water on her phone. It pleases only that he has protection against water. Kiki. She poking a little. What else is it? She examined the photos and recognized the guy in the yellow pants. Indeed, it was the very thin guy in yellow pants who recently dissected the air with his heavy boots. However, these are big problems. Here someone is obviously involved, she thought, or new thoughts spun her head. The next day, first of all, he decided to go to the first aid post in order to see the Shen Yu and check his wounds. Dr. Shen, I'm sorry that I delivered you troubles a few days ago. She began to look at him with a very angry look, as if piercing through. He was very surprised. Me? What am I? He asked, not sure. Shen Yu did not utter a word. He. The assistant laughed, looking at him from head to toe. Come. So far give me. Suzhen is a decent boy. Brought a hotel girl, a basket of ripe apples. The assistant and the inspector's girlfriend is now. You can call me a berry. Call her just an apple, Shen added. Su Chen, are you watching the news periodically? She asked strictly. Don't you read the news on your phone? You can only call from my mobile phone. And he took out his bottom and unbearable Nokia from his pocket. Haha, someone else uses such models. It seems that we live in different worlds. Assistant was surprised. So, what happened in the last news? I missed something, he asked. Very soon your second fight will take place. Prepare morally. In your business, I will arrange everything. Thank you very much. I will try even more, he said. Take this clothing, said Shen. With his uncertain movements, he began to unpack the package and took out a beautiful white kimono from there. Uniform of our Association of Southern Course Martial Arts. The fact that you received this clothing means an official entry into our ranks. Is it really me? Is I worthy? He asked. Everything is fine. You are my person. It means that you have to have a corresponding social status. That's how... Something strange. But I don't understand what she had just said. Suddenly you will meet a boxer's colleague. Just tell me that you are from the Association of Southern Schools, a student of Shen Sanjiang. Shang said, by the way, this teacher, her dad, added an apple. And there will definitely be no problems if I say so? He asked uncertainly. While I'm here, there will be no problems. It seems that some are very worried about their daughter, Chen added. Go home to rest. If anything happens, I immediately know me. And do not forget to change your mobile phone, she said. With a confident gait, he went to the nearest Huawei-branded store. I didn't think that modern mobile phones are already so many. I grabbed money not today. While he was thinking about it and checked his wallet to meet some guy with long hair on his head. For a moment, he accidentally hooked him with his shoulder. Oh, I'm sorry, he said with an accent. From such a blow, all his things and wallet fell on the floor. Brother, everything is in order. A dark-skinned guy bent down and lifted his wallet. Damn, such a feeling how the iron knocked, thought Su Chen, and wandered his shoulder after a blow. Here, your wallet. He handed him. Wow, the dark-skinned guy was surprised. So are you from the Association's Southern Schools? Do you wear their clothes? He asked in a slightly broken tongue. I was lucky. This guy was delighted, and he began to rejoice at the whole street. I have long wanted to measure with the Chinese boxer. Choosing words. Only I bounced well too, he said, and began to wave his fists. We like this, a rule, cannot measure the power with everyone in a row, he said. I really love Chinese kung fu, he continued to speak. I had a great idea, he exclaimed. Let us become friends. Friends can be learned, which means that you can measure by force. Do you really like the Chinese kung fu? And thanks for agreeing to it. My name is Isai. It is very pleasant to meet you. My name is Su Chen. He grabbed him with his hand and they went further. It is amazing that they became friends so quickly. Or it helped him that he does not know the language well. In a store of adult goods, there is an inconspicuous store there. It seems interesting to go to see, he suggested. Such places annoy me. We will do without it. Brother, you completely extinguished my interest. Yes, you can't go there. And they went on. At this time, the office of the Heavenly Warriors. Two men examined some kind of magazine with a serious look. That man from the Black Killers has not arrived yet? The master asked with a beard. He said that they unexpectedly gave another assignment, so he could not come. Another answered. Scoundrel! Yes, he simply spit on me as a director. The director of the sports club was indignant, and he began to angrily beat his hands on the table. A dog who does not think about the owner is a bad dog. His assistant decided to scatter with clever phrases. In fact, this time the authority of Jack Tan, he began to quietly tell him. Su Chen, along with his new friend, was already at his house. The sounds of blows were heard in the courtyard. They have already begun to try to put up with force. Or rather, they just tried their strength. Su Chen tried to break through the defense of his new acquaintance, but he did it weakly. I did not think that in some 3 days their relationship would become so cramped. Snowflow said. He also bought a new mobile phone to my brother. Linda was delighted. Ha! Come on, bro. What are you, not to get me? Continued to brag about his new friend. Su Chen was already tired of it that he constantly boasts, and he was blowing with a sharp movement of his leg. Just a few millimeters from his nose, his leg froze. Another drop and he would just knock him down. Hey, I just joke. He was indignant, jumping a little back from his leg. It's so wrong to strike, bro. A kick in Wing Chun can be so high. He was surprised. This is a foot and from another technique. I think that you can add something to Wing Chun, so I'll try to hone my skill. Oh my god. I no longer want to take risks with you to put up power, his acquaintance said in an uncertain voice. It turns out that I have less for one rival for training. Su Chen was delighted. But why don't you use your legs, Isai? Asked Su Chen. Once there was a thing. He raised his trouser leg and showed that under it he had a metal prosthesis. Su Chen was very surprised when he saw such a prosthesis, since on his gait it was impossible to say that he had something wrong with the limbs. Bro, it's time to go already, Linda said in a low voice. Sorry, I still have business, so I have to go. Oh, I wish you good luck, Isai said. Su Chen went to the gym and the first thing he went to his friend. Chernish, hello. Hello, Chen. Why did you come today? Yes, to see. They have already hung the name of the opponent or not yet. Hee. You defeated the Iron Wolf, which was the best in the CT group, and none of this group is already daring to fight you. For children, there was no names for the tournament table of professional battles of the club. Strange. The names have not yet been hung on the second tournament. It cannot be that the death camp left death alone, dropping the face of their club. Hey, you heard? The rival Su Chen is not on the training table yet. Didn't the director call one of the Black Killers? Was other guys discussed? It seems that guy seems to have died. What else for the Black Killers? Is it honest to include left-handed guys in the tournament? Quietly, the director is going. If you worry that all the rivals escaped, then go to the ring yourself, said the director. Either close your mouths and continue to train. Well, what is there? Asked the director. Black Killers will prepare everything clearly for us on time. His assistant answered. Great. Let this tour be shrouded in a secret, this bastard said. One way or another in the end, I got the benefit anyway, he added. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening a huge amount of public gathered in the ring. After the previous victory, Su Chen aroused great interest. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight planned for tonight is about to begin. Girls with fluffy hands were already cowardly and all their priests in the ring. The excited audience screamed. Everyone was waiting for the start of the fight. Su Chen, I have a bad foreboding. Maybe you will refuse today's battle? Chernish asked. Chernish, you know me. I have no way back. Su Chen needed before the fight. But my boxing intuition tells me that there will be something bad. Do not worry. Adapt in time, and everything will be fine. Shen Yu came to the locker room. And so the member number 1, Su Chen, goes to the ring. Laugh eyes the referee. Su Chen, be careful there. Su Chen began to approach the ring with a confident step. Look, on it of the forms of the Association of Southern Schools. Come on, Su Chen. Fight properly. Kid, I'm rooting for you, people from the public shouted. And today's opponent from the school camp. Meet! An adversary named Douglas, the referee announced in a loud voice. Who is this Douglas? An unknown boxer? He is from Black Death? Su Chen was surprised. Relieved by his metal prostheses to the ring, the new friend that recently came to the ring. Yes, cannot be. Su Chen could not believe his eyes. Isai, is it really you? Susan said the public. Hey, bro, we can see each other again, Douglas said joyfully, welcoming Su Chen. In the rooms in the VIP bed, spectators also gathered. It was heard from the window how noise and buzzing near the rostrum. He had already poured a glass of red wine and was looking forward to the beginning of the fight. I did not think that you could appear in such a place, his friend said. Hello, Xian, she greeted joyfully. These are his acquaintances. Today Fan Xiaovan brought her girlfriend Suji. I welcome you, Xiaovan and Suji. How did you find me? He was surprised. This is our little secret. I would not think that you like such combat fights by Suji. Yes, who does not have... What my father does not like does not mean that I don't like it either. But what? We will make our bets, the young master asked. Let's do it. Whose bet will win? You will marry that, I agree, Xiaovan suggested. Although this is a marriage by calculation, but to take in the wives, the one who is interested in the same as I look tempting. I choose the small one. Who is the name of Su Chen? And you? Of course another. And so that I choose the same. Who are you and you? Think only. What an abomination. Then they did not regret it when you lose, Xiaovan answered. 2 rivals were already in the ring and expected the beginning of the duel. It is strange why this person seems familiar to me. Have you really guessed? 2 rivals stood face to face and expected the beginning of the duel. The atmosphere in the ring was heating up. Fighters, we hit without regret. We don't ask for mercy. We got ready, the referee screamed. Hooray! Hooray! The audience screamed. They started. Su Chen fell off the place and decided to attack right away. Instantly, he approached his enemy and was ready to strike. He swung his fist, cutting the air. His fist flew right into the enemy's face with high speed. Douglas looked at how quickly his opponent was moving. Bats! Douglas with his hand was caught by a fist Su Chen. By this, he stopped his blow. Hey, so weak, Douglas asked with a smile on his face. I studied all your receivers. Yeah, I did not expect this. Su Chen was very surprised. With a sharp movement, Douglas lifted on his left hand and made a strong blow with his foot. From such a strong blow, Su Chen leaned back, barely standing on his feet. His combat style is not like a fist fight. This is something completely different. Douglas looked aggressively at him, as a predator looks at his victim. With sharp movements, he bounced from the ring and flew towards his enemy. What a high speed for a moment, Su Chen thought. Su Chen took his blow to the side, and he himself dodged the attack. but he was surprised by the following movement. As soon as Su Chen was about to strike, Douglas jumped into the air. It flew over it and struck a strong blow from the back. Keke. Su Chen began to cough from a strong blow. It really hurts. Su Chen instantly turned around and inflicted a strong blow with his foot. Douglas missed this blow. Oh, it hurts. Just Douglas received in the face, but still continued to have fun a duel. This hit with his foot was good. Yes, he agreed. What was it? Although this dark-skinned and strange combat style, but very serious along the course, the audience was surprised. What is this technique of his opponent? I have never seen this, Chernish shouted. This combat style is completely wild, where the legs and arms beat at the same time. It should be a combat dance. Is this capoeira? Somehow it is not very similar. The information about this combat style is very little, which is very bad for Su Chen. It's not good, Shen Yu thought. Bro, did not hear what the judge said? Douglas, member of the killers group, Black Killers of the Death Camp. These words were very surprised by Su Chen. Oh, you are a bastard. And you got into confidence in me? Of course, in order to explore all your skills. How else could I learn about the skill of your legs and amazing learning if I did not investigate in place? Asked Douglas. And now, until you adapted to my technique, I can defeat you, Douglas said. You did not think at all after another? Su Chen was indignant and inflicted a sharp blow with his hand. Do they become brothers in 3 days? You are too naive, Douglas answered with a blow. Su Chen sharply stepped aside to take his breath a little and look at the movement of his enemy. Su Chen began to move his feet quickly to confuse his opponent. He moves very quickly. Did he really use the path from Tantui? Douglas was surprised. Whoever gives me a drop of water, return to him a seething source, cried Su Chen. All that you did for me were small and trifling things, Su Chen continued to say. But for me to treat you as a friend of honor, cried Su Chen. I took an attack and grabbed everything with both hands by his head. However, I will not allow anyone to break my principles, he cried out. And he made a very unusual trick. He threw him through himself. Su Chen applied the reception of a butterfly with which he laid the iron wolf, cried the referee. The audience screamed from excitement. This is a tactile sensation in his arms. For a moment, Su Chen thought what it was. Hey, bro! Douglas began to rise to his feet after such a strong blow. Hey, brother, you beat too hard with your hands. It's cool, he confirmed. Douglas rose to his feet, rubbing his rumpled neck. He thought that the fight would be easier. Bro, it was ugly to her sides. As expected, he said. What continued to move very quickly, he swung his hand to strike him. But Douglas managed to turn away in the last second, quickly stomping around the ring. He looked at him with his own eyes, clearly conceived something. He grabbed his hand for the fencing of the ring and jumped into the air to strike with his foot. Not only did he just hit Su Chen, but he also threw him back, increasing the distance between them. Balancing on the fence of the ring, Douglas shouted to him, Tell me, what is the point to stand in the ring? Douglas shouted. At that moment, he pushed off from the fencing of the ring and inflicted a crushing blow with a knee right in the head of Su Chen. Having crossed his hands, Su Chen could block this blow and not get severe damage. But still, he had to move back a little because from a strong blow his hands burned with fire. This is the ring where we put on the end of our life, Douglas shouted. I am here to win. With renewed vigor, he began to strike at his opponent. A series of lightning strokes fell on Su Chen. He only managed to block blows. Victory is really very important. But this will not loosen my anger to you, cried Su Chen, and with his foot made a very strong blow, so that the crack of his metal prostheses was already heard. Su Chen was very surprised how Douglas, after such strong blows, was still on his feet. My legs were numb of such blows, but something is wrong with his body too. It was dangerous. Did he really learn about my weak place? He began to worry. I have to give up to the maximum now. Their views are connected. What is the matter? Surprised Su Chen, studying his opponent. Does he really have two weaknesses? Are these hands and heart? Is this only my assumption? His body is probably modified correctly. He comes! A voice was heard in his head. Douglas attacked. Su Chen tried to quickly take the blow to the side to dispel the power of the blow. A blow from above. A voice sounded in his head. Su Chen was grouped and prepared to block the blow. Douglas began to spin and wave his legs, as if making a turntable. Su Chen was ready for this. He did not wait until Douglas finishes his reception and inflicted a sharp blow. Douglas remained to sit on the floor, not understanding what happened, how he was able to block his blow. Bam! Bam! Su Chen held a series of blows, and with a sharp blow to his foot pierced his chest. This is wrong. This feeling. Su Chen thought for a moment what he was doing. Douglas clenched all in pain. He began to make incomprehensible sounds. He was clearly about to attack, but Su Chen did not yet understand what he would do. Ha! You shouted Douglas sharply, and arched with such force that Su Chen flew back. Thanks to his skills, Su Chen was grouped in time, and on exhalation landed in the ring, and having escaped the fall. He barely stood on his feet. He was doused all later, and his legs trembled with tension. This is amazing. I'm so glad that I came to see this match. I can't believe that Su Chen is so strong. It seems to me that he has a chance to win. Chernish was delighted. I would not be so sure of that. The fact that he stands on his feet is a miracle. He already showed everything he could. But his opponent has not yet revealed himself, said Shen Yu. In addition, his physical condition is not in the best form and differs from the opponent, she added. You correctly noticed this. Given the strength of the opponent, Su Chen can lose due to negligence, despite his skills. What was it now? Su Chen gathered his strength and restored his breath a little. Is it really yoga? This guy was engaged in yoga. It seems he wanted to overcome his weaknesses. The voice sounded in his head. That is, his weaknesses are deadly. The shadow continued to say, What? If my attack worked, then he would have been lying, thought Su Chen. If you are mistaken, then you will die. A voice sounded in his head again.